Before we get started with the show, I'd like to thank our sponsors. Our first sponsor is Atmos Planning, financial planners turning visionaries into meaningful millionaires. Our second sponsor of the day is Planet Duct. Reach out to them for any of your air duct cleaning needs. Now, let's get on with the show. Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast, the #1 podcast in Colorado Springs. I'm sitting here today with Eric Phillips, the owner of 3E's Comedy Club. Can you tell us a little bit about what your business is?
We're a comedy club, of course, and a cafe. We do other things, but that's our main thing. We're a comedy club, full-time comedy club.
Full-time comedy club, not just full-time, a cut above. You know, it's very nice in there.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we wanted it to be. We wanted it to be a place that people can, take somebody out on a date, night out with your wife or your husband, nice environment. So I think we did a pretty good job.
I think you did too.
Yeah.
We'll have to. You'll have to. Whoever's watching this has to go check it out for themselves to see it.
Definitely. Yeah.
And this is going to be released about a week and a half after we record it. So that would be that'd be next week. Do you know when, Marcus? It might be a Saturday. Yeah, I think so. But I just want to say that so that because I know you said you know that you have like booked out comedians for like a month at least.
Right. Yeah.
And then maybe we can promote that a little bit on here.
Well, we have a last minute comedian coming in June. She's gonna be great.
Okay.
And then for the rest of the month, we just have some great. Earthquake is a great comedian. Godfrey. So we have some really good comedians coming in.
Okay, sweet.
And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to bring in comedians. Colorado Springs has always been kind of a C place for entertainment. C definitely for comedy. And so we wanted to step it up. You don't have to drive to Denver anymore.
Yeah,
you can get some.
Thanks
good
to you,
here.
man. In your dream and your vision. Well, yeah, man. I can't wait to get more into that in this episode. But first, we're gonna roll the intro music and then we'll get started.
Cool, thanks, man.
This is a show where we have real conversations with entrepreneurs and business owners who are mostly in Colorado Springs, doing things in the community of Colorado Springs. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're doing things in the community of Colorado Springs.
That's good. That's cool.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. What you're doing for the community and then downtown and the Springs with comedians specifically, because I'm pretty new here, so I haven't really got to experience not having you. So
right.
So yeah, and you started out with a pretty big A-list on your opening night of the comedy club, opening in the middle of a pandemic too.
Opening in the middle of a pandemic, it was wild. When we started building, we're like, yeah, we'll open April Fool's Day, and it's like, oh, no, we won't. It's like, okay, we'll open, and then the pandemic came, and it's like, well, it only lasts for a week. This is what are they talking about? And then it really hit, and it's like, man, this is
6 weeks.
Real. I remember being in the building stage, and I was in the building and walked outside in the middle of the day, and there was nobody there. It's like zombie land. It's like nothing, no cars, and like, oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
But we pushed through with the help of some good people and got everything set up, and had our first show in September at limited capacity. But we bought Carlos Mencia. So it was, and we just kept pushing. We closed in December. You might as well say November because, he was telling everybody stay home for Thanksgiving, don't go see grandma, so it was November, and then it was the election, so everybody's brain was kind of everywhere, comedy, right? We pushed through, and January we opened back up, and now they're opening it up to, our capacity is lifted, but people aren't there yet, so, and they're not there with comedy yet either, but
people just don't know either, here in the Springs, I know there's a few other comedy clubs out there here in the Springs as well. You got Looney's. Is there another one besides Looney's?
No, that's it.
That's it? Okay, I said a few other because I was just guessing.
Well, they have a lot of open mics. Different.
That's what it is, yes. Oscar Blues does open mics.
So they have a lot of those at breweries. but it's nothing like an open mic at a comedy club.
Yes.
You know, one, because I'm there looking at talent. You know, seeing who we can, because we have 2 stages, so we do open mics and improv and different things on one side, and then the other side is our main stage. So I just watch the comedians and every week and see how they grow and see who can open on the other side for a major headliner. So
yeah.
So
yeah, and you say because you have you. And
right.
Who is you? You have a big eye for comedy. You've had a big passion for that, right?
Yeah. We I started in comedy in the 90s, mid 90s in Georgia, and was a promoter, right? And I put on shows and worked with different comedians. I don't know if people remember Shucky Ducky Quack Quack. Or,
no, I don't. That sounds funny.
Yeah, T.P. Hearns, Rod, man, we just had him come in, I think a month or so ago.
Okay.
That was 26 years ago, you know, and we kept those relationships up, and Earthquake, and I just loved comedy, you know. I love the people that come to the show. It's a great crowd, usually, you know, again, couples, women's night out. And I love to listen to comedians, and, you know, as they would tell me, hey, man, I need a writer. You know, and back then I'm like, why you need a writer? You know, because they, you know, sometimes they don't write all their jokes. You know, they get people to write them, and every joke is individually for that comedian. You know, you can write the same joke, but it has to fit that comedian. You know,
that makes sense. Yeah.
So you know, it's always been. I always loved it, and I've been trying to do this for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And since I've been here and kind of, you know, looking for the right time, I thought it was the right time. COVID hit. But
it just goes to show that it'll never be the right time.
Right. And so it was fun, man. It's still fun, even though there's a shortage of employees. Comedians, some of them are just coming back out, but it's a challenge. And I think when we really get going, it'll be a great place for comedy in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, and those open mics, those things that you were saying, the difference between what an actual comedy club is and those breweries that do open mics. Not to diss them or anything.
Right.
But one thing that I did notice, seeing the difference between the two, you know, you got an environment that's designed for comedy. Those other environments are designed for people to socialize. And all you hear is chat. Not all you hear, but you hear a lot of chatter. You hear a lot of people that aren't really focused on the comedian. And at your place, I almost felt disrespectful to to not be focused on the comedian.
Right. And that's what makes it fun. You know, you always get a chance to see, man, I saw this guy when he was just coming up. You know, because it's a new age of comedians. You know, and it's great to do a open mic at a brewery, or because they need that time, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, they need those places to work. But when they come here, it's just a different ball game. And I believe Comedy Works has an open mic up in Denver, but it's really, that's all that's out there, you know. So yeah, it's fun for me to watch them, and we do classes as well. So for those comedians, so watching them go to the classes, learn some things, and then get on stage. It's like, hey.
On Tuesdays, right?
On Tuesdays, yeah. So it's again, the best thing for me is to give a comedian the opportunity that they've never featured for 20, 25 minutes. I give them that opportunity, like, yes, that was the first time I got that done, you know.
For sure.
And that gives them confidence, you know. It's always been in the industry, you got to wait 5 years, you got to wait 10 years, you got to wait 20 years. And I just think right now, you know, as we look at them, let them grow. You know, give them a weekend, let them host, and see how they do. If they're quality enough, I'm not going to put them up there if they're not. But if they're quality enough, people are going to laugh.
For sure.
And I'm kind of a hard guy to make laugh. So
okay.
Yeah. So
hey, I made you laugh the other day, so that's
yes,
good.
You did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit on your entrepreneurial journey too, with what led you up to being able to get to the position to finally chase your dream of opening a comedy club. And I know you've done some other things in business to really get you to this position.
Well, my first business, I was 19, man.
Okay.
Growing up in Cleveland, it was a cleaners closing in my neighborhood, and I wanted to, I love clothes. So I'm like, hey, I walked in and said, hey, let me buy this business. Didn't know anything. I'm 19 years old. It's like, I had an idea. The money I make, I told the owner, the money I make, I'll pay you for the business. I had no capital. I had nothing, And she's like, okay.
But she still said okay,
She said okay. Well, she kind of said, okay, sucker.
Oh, I got you.
Come on in.
The money you make.
Right.
Okay, the money you're going to make.
Yeah.
Okay.
So came in, didn't work out. Community went to crap and decided to join the military.
Okay.
And I loved it. Didn't think I would. I only did it because one of my mentors said, hey, you need to, get a steady job, build up your credit, blah, blah. So, all right, maybe I'll just go to the military, but ended up enjoying what I was doing in the military. And stayed for a while, got out, started a property management company. Right now I work for a Small Business Administration, SBA.
Okay.
So I've always been into business, and some of the businesses that I opened, I wasn't passionate about. And I always tell small business owners, make sure you're passionate about what you're doing. Because if you're passionate about it, you won't, okay, I'm tired, I'll sell it. Or, when the going gets rough, you won't just drop it and do something different. So I never was really passionate about any of those businesses until comedy. Because this is what I've always wanted to do. So
and you got the idea in the 90s to want to start a club, or you just kind of started dabbling in it?
Well, I got the idea because as a promoter, when you went to, you bought a show to a bar, well, you're really paying for everything. You're paying for that comedian to fly in, a hotel, and all you're getting is the door, and the bar would get the food and beverage piece, which is a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was like, well, I don't want to keep doing this. I need my own place. And so that's over those years, I just thought about how I wanted it to look, what I wanted to, the feel of it. And I've always loved jazz, so I threw that in the mix of.
Okay.
Letting people, when they come in, listen to some nice jazz.
Yeah. In the morning at Million Cups, there's definitely some jazz going.
Right, yeah. So I love jazz.
And then the intro is kind of jazzy, too, for this podcast.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is, So, yeah, that's what made me keep thinking about it. And, again, just enjoying comedy. I kind of grew up in Cleveland a little rough, without parents and kind of, did the foster home deal for a minute.
Okay.
So making people smile was, I had to keep smiling, but making other people laugh and smile was, in some way, I had to get that done. I wasn't, I'm not a comedian.
Okay.
So I wasn't getting on stage.
So you knew you wanted to do something in comedy.
Right. So yeah, it's just been a dream come true. And I'm passionate about it. That's why, no matter what's happening, we're gonna keep moving.
Yeah, for
keep
sure.
This thing open. So.
Yeah. So what do you think of are some of your biggest successes in starting this business so far? Like, what do you think? What would you consider your biggest success so far? I know it's only been like a year, but.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been building longer than a year for sure.
Oh yeah. And again, man. My biggest success, I think, is always hearing, giving that comedian an opportunity and getting that response, that I can do this, I'm going to get better. And we always tell them to stay humble, but that's my biggest joy. People are like, well, you got to make money. Yeah, we do. And we will. But I've always been into helping. I've done a lot of things in the city as far as being on boards and commissions and volunteering for different things, just to give people the opportunity. And I think that's important. And it just goes into what I do with the comedy club.
For sure.
We're there to give local comedians, if they want it, the opportunity, to be something, bigger. And irritates me when I see people or comedians that's like, oh, I'm good. I'll do a show here, and I think I'm famous, but you're not.
Yeah.
And it's like, work hard, man, and you can make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see a comedian come back and say, hey, Eric, thanks for the opportunity. Those are my biggest,
I can see that a lot of comedians could get easily jaded.
Oh, yeah. It's so funny. You deal with some of these bigger comedians, and they give you this writer, and the writer is all the things that they want, in their green room. And it's like, really? All of this stuff, for what, but I've
Yellow
watched
M&Ms.
Yeah, chocolate bars with, this. I mean, it's crazy. Tennis shoes,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't mention the name for that, but we haven't had them yet. I'll say that.
Okay. But you knowing the industry.
Right,
yeah.
right. But yeah, it's I guess when you get to that level, you feel that you can demand those things.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoy the comedians that come in and say, hey man, I'm good, and they still kill it, and they're just humble about what they do, and I again, we have a sign in the green room that says stay humble,
Nice. Okay.
And so yeah, those are my biggest. That makes me feel good,
For sure.
Yeah, I worry about everything else, but when I get to those guys or girls. And that's another thing I think we're lacking, women comedians.
For sure.
And there's some funny ones, and we've had a lot of shows, more than most comedy club with just a straight women set, the opener, the feature, and the headliner.
Okay.
And I like to get them on the stage. They're funny, but they don't get there enough. So.
Yeah, kind of open that up for them. And help them, give them the hand up a little bit.
Right, exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
That's awesome, man.
So,
So where do you want to go with this business? What is your longer term goals with it, I guess?
Long term, of course, first we want to get this rolling. Eventually, we want to have our own building.
Okay.
That's one of the things we want to do.
Because you're inside of another building.
We're inside of another building. And then we can design it, kind of the same way. We're going to keep it classy, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But we're going to do some different things. So, and then we'll branch out to, different places. There's a couple places I've been looking at in the United States, But yeah, we just want to be home for a while, Colorado Springs, and connect. One of the things I'm trying to do is connect with other comedy club owners and chat, and that'll be a part of our podcast.
Yes.
That we're starting, kind of the industry comedians and some people that helped us get to where we are.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Helped you with the 3E's getting to
Right,
where it is,
right,
and also
right.
sustaining through the shutdowns and continuing to not have your dream that you worked so hard for just get completely killed.
Right.
Because of a crazy pandemic.
Man, and some days some shows we had 2 people, or 4 people, and I didn't feel bad for me. I felt bad for the comedian.
For sure.
But as professionals, they didn't care.
That's also how. I mean, that's a. You could also look at that as like a growing experience as a comedian. Okay, I got 2 people. Let's do this.
Right. And for those young comedians that were on the stage at that time, I told them that, hey, okay, you got to be able to perform in front of anyone, and most of them came through. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So you said you want to get this thing rolling. What does get this thing rolling look like?
Letting everybody know that we're here. I think that's the biggest piece. And Colorado Springs is kind of spread out. We have a lot of people here, but we don't. We're just spread out, and everyone's in a pocket,
Yeah. It's a whole different city on this side of the city. It's a whole different city on this side of the city.
They believe that.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not. That shouldn't be the case, When I was on the Planning Commission and other boards and commission I was on, it was always about the whole community, because we're all in it. If we have an issue down south, then it's an issue for everybody. If we have an issue up north, then it's an issue for everybody. So it's really.
Were you able to see how it was an issue for everybody, being on those boards?
Oh yeah, Planning Commission. We we saw everything that came to us came from a different part of town. Where somebody wanted to put something together or bring a company in or do neon lights everywhere, and you got feedback from every part of the city. People that didn't want this, so we don't want this in our neighborhood. But at the end of the day, we're all one neighborhood.
For sure.
And yes, people in the power corridors can say, we don't need to go downtown. We got everything, right? But downtown it should be the hub for our city, like most cities. As we build new Olympic Museum, the new Olympic Museum, a new stadium, soccer stadium.
That soccer stadium is pretty nice too.
Right, it's beautiful, and it's like, okay, so downtown, this is where you should be able to go. Sure, it's good things on Powers. Sure, it's good things on the West Side and different places down. But if you really want to get out, go downtown. When people come into the city, they're gonna say, okay, we went to the Olympic Museum. We got a great dinner at one of the great restaurants downtown. What else can we do? Yeah. Hey, let's go laugh, let's go catch a show, and so that's one of the things, as we put this together, it's like when people come into town, they come into the comedy club like, wow, this is cool. And they go back and they say, we went to Colorado Springs, had a great time, saw a great show, and it was beautiful. So, and it represents our city. So
I like that. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. And I like that idea of focusing on the downtown. That's just a personal preference of mine too. I like downtowns. I just love the way they feel, and you don't get that downtown feel on the power side or wherever. You don't get that feel. These older buildings too. I love older buildings.
Yeah.
Like we're in one right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I definitely dig that, and I dig the vision that you got right there with that. And I think you being on the board of those things allowed you to see some of those visions too.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
So what have been some of the biggest challenges, I guess, that you've had to overcome? Obviously, COVID definitely a big one.
I'm going to jump in real quick because he's a little out of focus.
Oh, is he?
Oh, now he's back, so he keeps going back out of focus. So.
Oh crap. That. Yeah, we'll have to lock that. We'll just lock it up.
Lock him real quick. And then always have him answer that question. He said, what are the biggest challenges? So I just want to make sure, because you're coming out of focus. I'm like, I don't want you out of focus.
That's perfect, man. Yeah. That's exactly part of what you do, so I appreciate it. Yeah. So that's locked. It should be stuck on him. Okay. And all right.
So you just asked what the biggest challenges were. So you can answer whenever you want. I just wanted to make sure that Will's cut that.
Yeah. Sounds good, man. So biggest challenge outside of COVID, because obviously that's an obvious one.
Let's see. Biggest challenge. Again, making people aware of that we're here. Helping them to understand that you don't have to just come out for the bigger names, because some of these guys that are working hard will be a bigger name.
Yeah.
And you have the opportunity to say, hey, I saw this guy when he was, just coming up.
Yeah.
So I think helping people understand that, come check out a show. It's $20. I guarantee you most 99% will be funny. So come on, check it out and just have a good night. So that's been a challenge. Of course, hiring people has been a challenge. But other than that, man, when you're doing something you love, those challenges, you just kind of keep pushing them to the side, and moving on. So, but yeah, those have been a couple. And then, of course, spending time with my sons,
Okay.
I lose that, but I bring them down to the club. They're out of school now, so they'll come in and clean up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. The 3E's is for my two sons. So.
And your 3E's are you and your two sons.
Yeah, Eric, Ethan, and Ian. They're 13 and 11. So.
Okay, sweet, man.
So I'll put them to work.
Yeah. I mean, they're part. I mean, they're in the name. So.
That's right. Yeah. So I'll put them to work this summer, but they enjoy it. They come down, meet some of the comedians. We had TJ Miller there.
Yeah.
And
I really wanted to see that one. I wasn't able to go to it.
We're trying to get him back.
Okay, yeah. And I found out that he's from Denver. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So it's like he's been a a comedian that I've admired for a while now.
Yeah,
so.
he's a great guy. And my sons knew him from Deadpool.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like,
so they were like,
excited. I'm gonna go talk to him. Yeah. So and he was great with them. So it was good. So they're getting an experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And you have the weekend spots, but you also have the open mics on Wednesdays, and that's not a $20 ticket.
No, that's our open mic, and it's no 2-item minimum.
Mm-hmm.
We just want you to come in and listen to these guys and girls, and we have kind of a competition where the crowd gets involved. We'll pick 5 at the end of the night of the comedians that we think were great. And then we'll let you pick the winner as the crowd.
Okay.
And then the first Monday of the month, we have a competition for those. We pick one each week, and then we have a competition the first Monday.
And then do they get like a slot, a bigger slot? Like
they could. They can get a 7-minute slot on a show. They win $100.
Okay.
So some incentive there.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. We just started off the cuff comedy on Thursdays where. The crowd again is involved, and they give a subject, and that comedian has 5 minutes to make that subject funny.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's like freestyling or something.
Right.
Okay.
And that's good for the crowd. It's a challenge for the comedians. We just think it's good, and it's open to improv because that's what improv people do.
Yeah.
And we have improv groups there as well. So
nice. Okay.
We combine everybody.
Every type of comedy you can think.
And you can think of.
Okay.
We try to have
Sweet.
it. Yeah.
So is there any big names you're anticipating that you could let us know about, or do you want to keep that until it's locked in?
I would tell you this. We have Jeremy Pivens coming in July.
Nice.
DJ Hughley will be coming soon.
Okay.
And we're working on. But who I really want the most. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
I am working on trying to touch all of his people. He lives where I'm from, Ohio.
I already know who it is.
Know who it is. So we're really working on that, maybe at a bigger venue to bring Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
So, if I have to go to his house and stand in his yard with a sign.
Yeah.
Say, hey,
he was big about keeping the comedy going through COVID.
He was. And,
paying for people to get vaccines just to come to his shows.
Right.
Before it was cheap. Before it was free.
Right. And he's phenomenal and a good person. And I don't know him personally, but I think listening to him and his trials and tribulations and the things that he's went through and to come out of that, I think when people go through things, it makes them stronger.
Yeah.
And so I just respect what he does. I definitely respect his comedy. One of the greats. So
for sure,
try to bring him to Colorado Springs.
You're gonna have to get his face on the wall too.
Oh, definitely. He is, like I said before, a lot of these comedians that we bring never heard of Colorado Springs. Never been here. It's like, we might have went to Denver, but never to Colorado.
Yeah, I mean,
Springs.
before I heard of Colorado Springs, I thought it was basically Denver.
Right.
So I didn't even know the difference.
Right.
So.
Well, it sounds like when I was coming here in the military, they said, "Well, you're going to be stationed in Colorado Springs." I'm like, is that like a resort? Or Colorado Springs. It sounds nice and calm, and but people know Denver when you talk about or Boulder, but this is a gem.
It is. Yes, I saw the value when I got here.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, I love it. I'm staying.
Yeah, it's a great place. Growing up in Cleveland, we were really and I love my city. I always will, as you can see.
Yeah.
But it was such a segregated city, and when I got here, it was like, as long as you work hard, they don't care,
Interesting.
When I opened up my property management company, I didn't think about, and I never think about if you're black or you're white. I just do business.
Yeah.
And business is green, so it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a color to that,
For sure.
And so I just, built a lot of relationships with some very great people here. A lot of restaurant owners, a lot of business people, a lot of city people. Was
that with the vision of starting this club?
That's always was there.
Was that a driver?
Because relationships matter. And I always, when I teach classes to small business owners, that's one of the things I tell them. When you find out where you're going to be, start talking to the people, build those relationships. Because 3 things in business, people have to know you, like you, and trust you.
Yes,
right?
Sure.
And when that happens, if you say, I need help, they're like, we got you. You know, what do you need help with?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of outreach that I had putting this club together. You know?
Yeah.
I still talk to some of my friends and like, you finally did it.
Yes,
you know, it's
that's
been
good.
20 years. So it's been good.
Yeah, I think that's something I did well too when I first got out here was making massive amount of connections. Like I wasn't worried about closing a deal. I just wanted to meet as many people as possible.
Right.
And I you know, that's something that Frank Sinclair did well too.
Frank is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frank is great. He's doing such a service for the community and what he's doing. And I don't know if people realize that, but he's a great benefit to small businesses
For sure.
in this city. So I've never seen, you know, what do I call it, on the spot reporter. You know.
Oh yeah, that's what he does.
Like, hey, let's talk about you. I mean, that is great, man. So I hope he keeps that up. I love him to death. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So,
Same.
Yeah.
And you know, just seeing him do his thing, and you know, his encouragement, and that's part of his big piece is encouraging. You know, he was a big encourager of me when I first got out here. So,
Yeah.
So big shout out to Frank Sinclair.
Yes, indeed.
Go listen to both his episodes on this podcast.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I noticed you said that maybe you'll get a bigger event if you bring someone like Dave out. I also know that he loves doing small events too, just showing up and popping up.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing he likes doing. But how would that look if you got a bigger one?
You know, we've been talking to a couple of large venues. You know, the new soccer stadium.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was imagining. Like, but like with 3E's, like presenting it, or
yeah,
okay,
yeah. Our baseball, the Vibes, we've been talking to them as well. So.
UC Health, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and so you know, whatever I feel we can do to bring attention to the city in a great way, get our people out together, and I think something like that would. And we're thinking about other things that we're going to do next year. We're going to do a first annual Colorado Springs Comedy Festival. You know.
Okay.
So
Marcus, you hear that? This guy knows all about festivals.
Okay. Yeah, I might be tapping him. For,
Yeah. No, for sure.
But yeah, we want to bring that to the city and just some different things. You know, people always need to laugh. That's one thing that's not going to go away. One thing we do a little different from most comedy clubs. We bring a variety, you know, all different types of comedians, all genders, all, you know, and I like that because it gives it, you know, we're a diverse city, and I like to, you know, our comedians to represent that as well. So.
Yeah, I can't wait until 3E's is one of those clubs that you hear Joe Rogan talking about with other comedians, you know. That's going to be awesome.
Well, you know, they're already talking in LA. Every time somebody comes, they go back and say, hey, this was a great spot.
Okay.
You know, so our name is getting out there.
Yeah.
And COVID was kind of it was a curse, but it was kind of a blessing because we were still pushing along when a lot of people had shut down. And that kind of gave us the opportunity to say, who are these guys? What's 3E's Comedy Club? You know? And so it kind of, I won't say put everybody on the same playing field, but we all have to reopen now, you know, and we're reopening after we were still in there, you know, having some shows and bringing some people in.
It's almost like you were wearing ankle weights and now you're taking them off.
Now we're taking them off, and everybody else is as well, but we're like right there, you know. So I think that kind of helped us because we kept pushing and bringing some big names in, Tommy Davidson, and kind of kept going. So it hurt and it helped, I guess.
For sure. Well, you're still here.
I'm still here. You know, I'm hanging on that edge.
For sure, man.
So yeah.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to, or anything you'd like to promote specifically before we wrap this up?
You know, we're gonna start pushing. You know, Heckler's Cafe is our cafe in the comedy club, and we wanted people to come in for open mic. I mean, not for open mics. Well, for open mics, but for happy hour. Come in. We'll be listening to some great music, great environment. We have some great drink specials, food. We were told we had an article when T.J. Miller came by the Independent, and
Okay.
the writer said, "Yeah, they have phenomenal bar food."
I know who that writer is.
Yeah.
I just edited a testimonial for one of my clients. It's 3 levels deep. He was reviewing my client's thing,
Right.
and then I was like, someone I had on this show, she told me about how her boyfriend writes for the Independent and he reviews food,
Right.
and I was like, this is that guy.
Yeah.
And then I went and looked, and it was that guy. So
Yeah.
I bet it's that guy.
It
This guy
is.
keeps popping up in my life for some reason.
It
I don't
is,
know.
but he didn't do a bad review on us.
Okay, good.
We'll take good bar food. I like it. People like it, enjoy it, and we're gonna change our menu up a little bit. But just come in for happy hour, and we have some trivia going and
Okay.
comedy trivia.
When's happy hour?
4 to 7.
4 to 7 every
Yeah.
day.
Every
Okay.
day except for Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
because
have
Friday
shows.
is the open, the
Friday's our
main
shows.
night. Yeah.
Yeah, Friday. And another thing people, I think, have to get used to is that we have shows every weekend. And some people think, they just have, a show once a month or a show, a special show. We have shows every weekend.
Do other comedy clubs not do that?
They all have, a true comedy club. You have shows every weekend.
Yeah.
Some are Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Some might be on a Monday. We might have a comedian pop in.
Okay.
In bigger cities, that's how it works, So, yes, every weekend we have comedy.
Yeah, because that would be so cool. Like, literally, like, next week, if Dave Chappelle showed up at 2 on Tuesday,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, we're not doing Writers Night, Dave's here.
Right. And he does that.
Yeah.
Up at Comedy Works. They have a great relationship up there.
Okay.
We want to.
Is that in Ohio?
No, that's up in Denver.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I don't know all the clubs. So.
Yeah. He pops in up there. They have two great rooms. Comedy Works. She's been in the business a long time. She knows what she's doing, and she's built some great relationships. And improv. They have improv. So he knows her. He'll pop in on a Tuesday, Wednesday, sold out.
Okay.
And that's great.
Yeah.
So we want to, see if get them to just pop in once.
Oh, it's gonna happen. I already know it, and you know it too.
Yeah,
So.
we'll get them down.
Yeah.
So,
I think another thing, now that I'm thinking about it, another blessing that might have come out of COVID is everyone's leaving LA. So.
They come here, they move here, Texas, and they're looking for things to do, because they're used to doing things.
Yeah, having a bunch of things.
And I think that, that helps us blend the community. Sometimes we we're Colorado Springs, we just like to do this. Well, let's try something different, So I'm not, it doesn't bother me. Sometimes people say, it's too many people coming, but I think
that's a good problem.
It is. I think we can all make it work, So I hope so.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I thought you meant coming to your club, coming to the city. Yes.
Oh, coming to the city.
It is a good problem, but I can see why people complain. Yeah.
I can too. I think our transportation, and I've always talked about this, we need to do something about our transportation. That costs dollars, and we're not a city that has a major baseball league team or major basketball, so we have to bring in our money different ways. So
yes.
We have to be, and we've always been fiscally conservative with the dollars that we have here, which is great. But I think we have the good leadership in place. I love Mayor Southers. He's a good man. Everybody doesn't think so, but that's politics.
Yeah, for sure.
But I know him, from a personal setting.
Okay.
So I think we have, for our city moving forward, I think we have the right person in place to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I like growth. I like expansion.
Yeah.
But I can also see how people want to hold on to the small town feel.
Right.
Because that's one of the reasons why I like Colorado Springs is because of that small town feel.
Yeah. And I think we can do that. I think we have held on to that. But we, as a city, we have to grow and not grow out of control. Because as a planning commissioner, I didn't want to see that either. You grow, keeping control of the city and what it needs, not just, hey, let's put a casino in the middle of downtown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to, pay attention to what's coming here. But I think we can do that in the right way.
For sure.
And I think we have been doing that the right way. So.
Well, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
And that's one reason why I like that of this city, because Kansas City has that small town feel, but it also has a 2 million metropolitan area. So it's still, Colorado Springs still has room to grow while maintaining that small town feel.
And our military posts, our military is a plus. Like I said earlier, we can get them more involved in what we're doing here. But that's definitely a plus.
For sure.
So being a military, a veteran, like I said, I got here and it's like, hey, I'm staying. This is great.
Same here. Yeah. And I wasn't in the military, but the military brought me out here doing construction on Fort Carson.
Okay.
So it did bring me out here, and then I was like, okay, I'm staying.
Right. Yeah. So but I enjoy this place, and we're just gonna keep moving, man, and try to show the country what Colorado Springs has.
Yeah, so, let's do it, man. Let's do it. Yeah. Well, all right, we'll start wrapping this up. This has been a great episode. Thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
Sharing
Thanks
your
for
wisdom.
Inviting me.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah, well, sweet. Your podcast is coming soon too.
Yes.
Comedy and community, right?
Yep.
Or community and comedy.
Comedy and community.
Okay.
You got it right. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
3E's presents. All right. So check out a show this coming weekend or the weekend that you're watching this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We got some work to do, but
yeah.
And thank you for helping me with
that. Yes, definitely. And so this has been the COS Business Podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was cool, man.
Yeah.
So I got to get used to hearing